All right, let's talk about it. You opened Xtool Studio, stared at the screen and thought, where the hell did everything go? The menus moved, the tools vanished, and suddenly you're spending more time looking for buttons than making projects. You're not alone. Many people are saying the same thing. Where's my stuff? They say the system is slower, the layout's confusing, and it feels like the old creative space we put in the time to learn just got tossed out of the window. If you're a seasoned XCS user, it probably feels like walking into your shop and finding that someone moved every single tool. And if you're new to all of this, it feels like the software is testing your patience more than your skills. I've been running Studio for a little over a week now, collecting notes, testing the new features, and reading every complaint I could find, because I wanted to see if the problem was us or the software. Spoiler, it's a little bit of both. So here's what we're doing today. We're going to walk through the top pain points people hit when moving from XCS to Studio. I'll walk you through what's actually new, what's just been moved around, and how to get back to cutting and engraving instead of hunting for buttons. If you're tired of tutorials that skip the hard parts, stay here. If you're brand new to Xtool altogether, stick around. This will give you the big picture and help you avoid some of those rookie frustrations. But if you want a full step-by-step from start to finish, from setup to first cut, that's in my separate A through Z walkthrough. This video is about making Studio feel familiar faster. Let's get into it. To show you how the new Studio layout actually works, I thought, why don't we build something simple together? We can tackle this little small phone holder. So there are a couple of things I'm going to change about this. This isn't about design perfection or anything like that. It's about seeing where everything went and how to use it without throwing your mouse at it. By the end of this build, my hope is that you'll have a nice little phone holder and that you'll have a better sense of how Studio actually works. All right, we're in Studio. If you did everything right during the installation, you should see the Xtool Studio home landing page, okay? One thing, a lot of the new features in Studio requires you to be logged in. So let me log out so we can start from scratch. I'm logged out, and this is what I mean. If you go to some of these areas, it's going to ask you to log in first. So I'm going to log in. I'm using my builds account. I'm logged in. Now the material section works, right? Now, if you don't have an account, you're gonna click on sign up. You're going to enter your email address, your password, and you're going to click here on Get Code. You will come in, plug it here, click on Agree to the Xtool privacy policy, and then you click Sign Up. As part of that process too, you're going to get some free credits. So it's 200 credits. I use 6 credits doing some testing here. So now everything should work the way it's intended. Again, very heavy on the fact that you need to be online, okay? So this is the home screen. If you're coming from XCS, a lot of the stuff will look familiar. A lot of the stuff will look new. Now, another thing we should probably do is to double check that we're running the latest version of Studio. So for that, we come here to the top, that little arrow down, check for updates. Okay, good. So we can confirm that we're running the latest version as of today. Another thing I recommend you to look at is the settings. So again, you go up to the top, click that little down arrow, settings. Just make sure that you confirm the setup is to your liking. All right, let's start a new project. You can do that either by clicking the plus here on the top or clicking on New Project. One of the things that people complain about is that the system would run very slow for them. Well, this upgrade has got a lot of new things built in, and I think it will require a lot from your machine. Just make sure that if you're running into problems, you close all the other applications that you have running at the same time, that you double check that you're running the latest version of the Studio, the right version of Studios. Also, don't keep too many of your projects open at the same time. Check out the minimum requirements provided by Xtool and make sure that your machine meets those requirements. They have a lot of good information there on the support page. I will also leave a link down below for those minimum requirements, okay? Now, before we start, I have an Xtool S1 40-watt laser. You guys might have another machine. If you have multiple machines, you gotta make sure that you understand that the whole software is set up to work with the machine that you have selected. So let's say I have a P2, hopefully one day, P2S, if I can choose, I will come here, click on that little double arrow, and come down here and select my P2S. So it lets me know that the settings are going to be different. They have changed. Are you sure that you want to switch? Let's switch. One thing to notice is that my canvas changed to match the size of the P2. And as such, the material settings and the recommendation that's going to give me is all going to be linked to that P2S, right? Like I said, I only have an S1 So I'm going to switch back to my S1, which I like very much. So you see the size of my canvas change back to reflect the size of my S1 40 watt bed. XCS hasn't gone away at all. Studio is a complete different software. So when you install Studio, it will not delete XCS from your machine. Here's XCS running with 0 issues in parallel with Studio. You can still create things in XCS and being able to open them in Studio. You can still create things in Studio and open them in XCS. Just watch out for some specific type of builds from within Studio that will not work in XCS. I've noticed that in some of those earrings and some of those boxes, stuff that is very Studio specific. So watch out for that. As you can see, the layout changed a lot from XCS. They have moved buttons around. They have grouped buttons together that were not together before. As you can see, there are no menus available at the top, right? They're all gone. There are no wordings, basically, very minimum. Your menu from the top is completely gone. Some of these icons look familiar, but there's a drastic change here, right? Another thing to notice, and I have to wear glasses, different glasses for everything. Some of the menus and some of the words can be difficult to read, can be difficult to see. So just keep that in mind. Maybe you can change the settings in your computer to adjust that. First things first, we need to measure our phone. I have an iPhone 14. I'm not allowed to upgrade yet. So this bad boy is about 15 centimeters in height, about 7.5 centimeters in width. And we're talking about a thickness of about 1.5 centimeters with the case. So we're back in Studio. Let's just kind of build our phone holder. We're going to start with a little rectangle, right? We're going to do the width first, which is 80 millimeters, right? So 8 centimeters. We're going to unlock our aspect ratio here so we can plug in our numbers. We're going to make this guy 180 tall, okay? So that's our backer. Looking good already. So as you can see, the menu now provides us with all sorts of different things. If I click on the canvas, the menu is gone. So don't panic. Just click back on that box. You will get your menu back. So again, 180 tall by 80 wide. Next, I'm going to round my corners a little bit because I like that look. It's a little more modern than this, right angle. So let's just do what would look good. 10. Does that look good? What about 5? Let's just take a look if 5 looks a little better as we're rounding our corners. I think I'm going to go with 10. So I think I'm going to go with my smaller box. I'm going to click the rectangle here. All right, so for our measurements, we're going to keep similar ratios. Let me take a look and see. So for the width, we're going to do 80 millimeters. And we're going to unlock our aspect ratio again so that we can plug in whatever number we want. And for that one, we're going to do 100 millimeters tall. This guy is 80 to 180, and this guy is 80 to 100. Now let me zoom in, zoom out just to see what it looks like. Now, if I want to move the canvas, just to kind of let you guys see a little better, I can click on the arrow down here below, select hand and move things around, and then come back down here and select the arrow there, the select tool. So I can go back to being able to do this kind of thing, right? So, or I can just hit H on the keyboard and it allows me to move the canvas around. And when I'm done, I do V and I'm coming back here to the selection tool. This button used to be 2 buttons in XCS. Now they just put it together in one. Again, saving real estate for other things. So the buttons are not gone. They're just joined together now. So I want to do something about my cable management now, and I'm going to add a little circle. So let me just bring my circle down here, right in the middle. And let me just bring it in a little bit closer, zoom it in. Pretty big circle. Let's just make it a little smaller there. Do 15 millimeters. Let me join these 2 guys together. Now, this is something that you're going to see now finally appear, some of this Boolean options. So I select, for what I need, I will select subtract. So there you go. So that's where my little cable is going to go right through, right? My charger cable. And I need to do the same for this rectangle. So again, circle, circle, shift, circle. I bring it over. It will snap right in the middle there. As you can see, there's a little line. So we made that circle 1.5 centimeters, 15 millimeters. I got to, again, place it in the middle again. Looks good. I select all of it. I come up to the top and I subtract. And there it is. If you notice, if I just click on this box by itself, the Boolean options don't show up. But if I have two objects selected, they're back. These menus are very dynamic. They only show up when you need them. If I click on the canvas, the menu disappears. If I click on my object, the menus are back. If I click on a combination of objects, I get more items in the menu to do other things. For example, I can group them, and now they're both together, come up, and I ungroup them, and they're free now. Right. My only concern now is I feel like this circle needs to be a little bit bigger. Otherwise, my phone won't be able to back all the way back to the backer, if that makes sense, because the cable, the charging cable, will get in the way. So the phone will end up being a little tilted rather than nicely fitting towards the back of that piece of plywood. I need to make this guy a little bit bigger, the circle. So what we'll do is we'll undo. So the circle is gone now. So maybe what I do is I do a little rectangle that is, let's say, 12 millimeters tall. So it's 15 wide, and now it's 12 high. So let's just kind of round this 5 for this size. Alrighty, this doesn't look good at all, but let's just kind of bring it down like this. All right, it looks good. So let's just kind of select the whole thing, go up to our menu, and we're going to subtract. Next, we're going to make our little cutout there so that this bottom portion can go through the top, through the backer. So my plywood is 4 millimeters thick. So let's just unlock there. So this is going to be 4 millimeters thick so that the plywood can go through. All right, in the middle there. And now I need to fit this guy through that little cutout. And of course, it's too big. So for my design, I'm going to use a T-shape. So it not only supports it, but it keeps it secure. You'll see what I mean. So again, my iPhone is 1.5 centimeters thick. Let me just kind of do a little bit of a reference box here so that it can help me create my T-shape. We're going to do 1.5 again. I think we're going to make this, just to play with easy numbers, we're going to make this cutout 50. Let's just take a look and see what kind of space we have there. That measurement tool was there before in XCS. So that's 15 in width. I don't want to subtract 15 exactly because it might not fit. I'd rather have it a little bit loose from side to side. You'll see what I mean. So let's just create a rectangle here. And we're going to make it 16 in width. And I'm going to snap it right to the side of our base and also to the top there of my guide for my phone, right? Okay, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So I can do Control Z to undo that move. Or, I don't know if you noticed, but at the bottom, they move the undo and redo. I just click on undo and it will undo whatever I did. If I do the redo, it will do it again. So I'm going to snap this to the side and to my guide there at the bottom, and you'll see what this will do. So I'm going to get rid of my guide. I think I'm satisfied with that. I'm going to select the left side, that guide, in my rectangle. I'm going to go to the top and do subtract again, and I will do the same on this side, top, subtract, and I have my T. So what I did was just to create this little base that can go through, and it will stop right there to keep it more secure. Let's just use some of this real estate and engrave something, okay? We click on T for our text. Always try to encourage myself and remind myself and you guys that you got this. I'm going to make sure I'm engraving. I'm not sure I'm too crazy about that font. Let me see what would be a fun font to use. You got a lot of options here when it comes to fonts. I think they loaded it. As you can see, some of these fonts have this little yellow. And as you can read, there's limited free. And what it means is that some of them are free and some of them are free to use with certain conditions. And in this one, it says there that it's limited free. So you might be able to use it a couple of times and then you'll have to pay, or you will have to pay from the get-go. For the ones that I like to use, most of them are free. And on top of that, if you have your own fonts that you've downloaded, that you've acquired, that you bought, and they're all legit, you can always upload your font directly here to Studio. I get my fonts from Creative Fabrica. The license there is very open, so I wouldn't have a problem downloading fonts from Creative Fabrica and uploading them here. They got a very good selection here, so I don't see the need to do that right now, but if you want to do that and you're curious about Creative Fabrica, I will leave the link down the bottom. I used this one before and I really liked it. I think it's pretty fun, so we're gonna just use this bad boy. I'm going to fit it a little nicer. There's the middle. Close enough. I asked ChatGPT to help me with a logo a while back. So I'm going to import it by clicking the plus for importing. So I'm going to bring this guy in. He will tell me, hey, listen, this is too big. You want me to scale it down? And I will scale it down. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can deal with things here a little better. And the next thing I'm going to do is, because I only like the guy here in the bottom. So I'm going to select my image. I'm going to click on edit. I'm going to trace it, okay? I normally take the defaults. The trace used to be on top here in XCS, but if you paid attention, I selected my image and I clicked on edit. This image sidebar open here on the left, and I will select trace, and I can do the trace. Now I can get rid of that picture, no problem. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you load your designs with pictures, your computer will need to utilize more resources just to keep that picture here. So as soon as you're done with those pictures, you can get rid of them. So this is a compound image now. So I'm going to release it. And now I'm going to just keep the one that I want to work with, which is the guy here at the bottom, bring it down. This guy's bye-bye. And again, I'm going to make it a compound vector, and I'm going to place this guy here, maybe a little bit bigger even. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to come here to the side and select engrave. And of course, I believe in branding, right? Severna Builds, we'll do it like this. Again, I'm not too sold on that font. I like me my Roboto. I select it from here because I used it recently, or I can just simply search for it if I know the name of it. Anton. There it is. I'm just going to stick with what I know, and I'm going to use Roboto. Roboto condensed. So Roboto regular, and we're going to engrave also. Let me just make it a little smaller so it can fit my design here. And let me just kind of distribute this guys a little better. I don't know if you noticed, but if I just select this one text, this is the way the menu looks. If I select the three of them, now I got this extra guy here that is for my distribution horizontally, Control Z, or vertically, which is what I want. I like my branding and I want to promote my website. I come here to the applications and I'm going to go to code generation. This is something that existed on XCS as well. I'm going to enter my website right here, www.severnaliving.com. So let me just double check, severnaliving.com. And I tend to leave the defaults as they are. So and then I click save and it will create my QR code. If you want to test it out, take your phone out, open the camera, and point at this QR code, and it will take you directly to severnaliving.com, which is my website. Visit and visit often, all right? Let's see if it works. There you have it, severnaliving.com. I've made one before with XCS. If you're sticking with XCS and you want to know how this is done, take a look at my previous video on the XCS 101, my XCS tutorial. And let's just fit it here. I'm going to do a little more of that branding, and I'm going to say this is for severnaliving.com. And we're going to make sure that we're engraving, and we're going to place it right on top of this guy in the middle. So it's going to be showing on the bottom portion of it. And because of the way that it's positioned, if you read it from the side, you're going to see severnaliving.com exactly there. To keep things from getting too confusing, especially when you have a lot of things on the screen, things that you're going to be cutting, engraving, I tend to use a coloring system just to kind of give me a visual cue as to what is that I'm doing. I'm cutting, I'm engraving, I'm marking or scoring. I use different colors. And I will select everything that I know that I will be cutting. So I use the color red down here at the bottom to show me that these things are going to be cut. For the things that I'm going to engrave, I use the color blue. Why? Because I like it. And now I know that blue means engraving, red is cutting. I didn't change the color of the QR code because it will show black anyway. So that's about it as far as what I want to do with this thing now. Now, before I get into the whole cutting or engraving, I often run a material test. Things are done basically the same. They just enhance the way they present the material testing for you. So for that to work, I tend to use a little star, and they have now the star by itself here in the same area where you find the rectangle and the circle. Or if you want a little fancier star, you just go here to the elements. You can click on star and it's going to show you all the stars that are available. And you select it. You got this fancy star down at the bottom. It's got this little blue icon, right? And also you will see that in some of these elements, you got that little yellow symbol again. I think I saw in some of this fancy fonts. So that means that you have limited times that you can use them for free, or that perhaps you have to pay for them. So keep that in mind. So let's use the star to build my material test. We're just going to use this regular star here. We're going to make sure that it's being engraved. I go back to the application. I click on material test array. So it builds it for me, right? So what is interesting here is because the system knows that I'm using an S1 40 watt. Everything that it knows as far as the material will be connected to the fact that it knows that I'm using an S1 40 watt. Let's do wood. So I'm going to use plywood for this project. So this material testing will give me, for the engraving, will give me the range that it thinks should work, but it gives you this array reference now for you to have a visual of what you will be using for your material test. So this is leather, you got paper, so it shows you right here what it will look like depending on your array selection here, all right? So that's the material testing. As you can see here, showing unknown material. You can click on that. I'm going to be using birch, 3 millimeters. I'm going to apply it. Got it. And as I said before, all the stuff is connected to my machine. So every selection that it does for materials and all those related items, it knows that I'm using the S1 40 watt. So for engraving, it's telling me based on their suggestion and what they know about their materials. Now, another neat thing they added here is the preview. So I'm going to zoom in just to see the detail. Not too bad. Not too bad, right? And if I was connected, I could show you the framing, but we'll do that in the shop. If you don't like my Raven logo and you like to see something else, what you can do is you can come here to the side to the AIMAKE. It also existed back in XCS, right? But you can make use of this guy and make your own logo, right? You enter the prompt here. It's going to charge you 6 credits. So let me move myself out of the way so you can see a little better. So you got the prompt area here, and you can type up whatever it is that you want to create. Again, keep in mind that it's going to charge you 6 credits, I believe, for the creation of your images. You can always top it off. So let me see. I hope I'm not blocking you. I keep moving myself out of the way so I'm not blocking you. So you can buy more credits. You can check your balance, and your balance will show right here. It opens up a browser window for you to check your balance. Or you can buy more credits. 500 credits for $5, 1,000 credits for $10, 2,000 credits for $20. It is up to you how you spend your money, right? I think it did a pretty good job. So I can download it here if I click the little down arrow, or I can click here and import it into my canvas. I'll click on there. I clicked on the import into canvas, scale it down so it fits. All right, look at that. Actually, it's pretty cool. Look at the little wrench there in the bottom. So you can edit it. And in my case, I can crop it if I want to, right? If I crop it, I can crop it like this, cropped. I can trace it, just taking the defaults, trace, right? So there you got my trace version right there. To engrave it. And what else can I do? Let me just edit it again. Right, some of this stuff will cost you money though. I can tell you right now. I gotta click on it, but as you can see, 6 credits to erase whatever it is that I want to erase. So I could erase this guy and then just spend the credits. I don't know if I want to spend the credits like that. Does the mask charge me money? So it doesn't seem like it charges me anything. What else we can do in the edit? We can do filters. Do I need to pay anything for the filters? No. Okay, good. So filters are for free. And restyle, I think I have to pay for them, right? Yes. So if I want to restyle my little Raven guy, make it a cyberpunk, pixel art, and whatever else, I'll pay 6 credits for it. Not bad. And then if this was a picture or an image that I want to retouch, I can always do adjustments and I can auto adjust, but you're not going to be able to see much because it's the nature of that image. There's not a whole lot to adjust there. But here's where you would come and do your grayscale, do your invert, and then your sharpness and all that good stuff that I normally do when I'm doing my engraved canvases. That menu used to be here in the middle on the top there. Now it only shows up if you select your image and you do the edit. So here's where it is hiding. Some people were telling me, hey, where's that hiding nowadays? Well, you got to click on your image, come to the edit, and you will find it for your use, right? Within the adjustments. So what do you think of the AIMAKE? Would you consider using it, spending the money, building your library of images? Because you can retrieve, the stuff will be here, so you can come back and retrieve it at any time, or you can save it locally to your machine. Or if you're using MySpace, which is their cloud storage option, you can save it there as well. So for now, let's just kind of stay with my version from ChatGPT, this guy. I like it better. So another thing I want to show you is this smart nesting is something that is being talked about a lot. So what it is that it will grab your images, your objects, and put them together so that you save on material. We're going to use smart nesting. I don't know if I need to select and then do smart nesting, or is it smart enough to know that I'm talking about this guy? So let's just see. Smart nesting. And I said that this was like 195 millimeters by 195 millimeters. So let's see what it does. Okay, so I need to select my object. So I'm going to select my objects and now start nesting. So it says, listen, if you place them this way, it's the best way to save space and save material and only cut in the areas where you need to cut. So let's do another example just to be able to kind of show you a little better what I mean by this smart nesting. So let's use one of them fancy elements. What do I use? Let's use the turtles, right? I like turtle. We're gonna make a bunch of them. Let's see. And one more, and one more. All right. So let's say I wanted to cut out this turtles just to kind of give you a better example. Let me just kind of measure a small box that I know that perhaps will fit all of them, right? Let's say that I'm working with this little plywood sheet of 140 millimeters by 140 millimeters. So 14 centimeters by 14 centimeters, right? So this will fit all of my turtles, but I also don't want to waste all the materials and all the turtles because, you know, I like to keep little offcuts for future projects, right? So let's see if my example works. Let me just get rid of my box here. We'll just keep it as reference. So I'm going to select all my turtles because now we know that you got to select before you click on the smart nesting, and I'm gonna tell it I have a plywood sheet of 140 by 140, and it will group them in a way that I can save material for later use. Let's see what it does. So based on that, it tells me, listen, I put them this way, and now you can fit them all within your 14 centimeter plywood sheet, and this is the best way that you're going to save material. Maybe this way. There you go. This is the best way you're going to save material. So now you're going to have all this material available for something else. Okay. All right. So I brought it back to the way it was before. All right. We're going to save and we're going to head out to the garage. But I don't think there's anything else I need to show you from here other than some of the new stuff that they have here in the applications. They got some earring generators, keychain generators, and box and all that good stuff. Some of the stuff are free. The templates are free. Some of the other templates you have to pay for. For example, this map designer, you have to pay. You got to pay a membership. You got to pay a monthly fee to use it for your enjoyment. So we're in the garage now. We're going to do a material test. We're going to see what numbers we get out of that. I always do material testing when I haven't ran the machine for a while or it's a new material, right? I've done plywood before, but also I want to make 100% sure that my numbers are going to be right. So we'll test it out, we'll get our numbers, and then we'll just apply it to our design, okay? Another thing I'm going to show you is where they put the framing, where they put the measuring, the marking, and all that stuff, because that also changed a little bit. It was just shifted to the side, But if you're not paying attention, you're not gonna find it. So as I'm going through my material testing, I will record my screen on my computer and you'll see what I mean. It's being recorded on a MacBook and it's got a bit different look to it, but Studio, it hasn't changed. It's just the MacBook look to it. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm connected to my Xtool S1. The mode is set up to be processed on the base plate by default, and that's where we're going to keep it. So the material, it was set as unknown. I'm going to keep it like that because we're just doing my test array. First thing I do is I measure the distance, right? So it's going to measure. Then what we're going to do, we're going to mark our surface. We end the marking. That screen looks basically the same. So you see everything was here on the right all together. They figure, you know, we're working on the engraving and scoring and cutting area here to set up our grids. So we're gonna put everything on the same side, right? So the preview doesn't work here, but let's see if the process information remains the same. So it's estimating the time, 11 minutes for my test array. And of course, they have this safety warnings there for us. So I guess now we're just going to proceed. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, pretty good, pretty good. So based on our test material, we're gonna do 400 for speed and 50 for power. We're gonna make the change here in the computer. So I'm going to select all of my engravings by going to the blue layer down in the bottom there on the left side. So it selects all of the blue layers, which are all my engravings, right? And I'm going to make the change to 400 by 50, right? Just make it a little darker than what I did with my testing. And that's it already. And 140 for LPC. Okay. Then I'm going to select all my cuts. I had there 100% power with 14 speed. We're going to lower that to 12 just because I felt that during my testing, I had a little too many hairs still sticking, keeping the cuts together. So let's do 12. So we're going to place our material where it needs to be. All right. And we're going to do the framing. And actually we can do a preview now. There it is with my stuff removed. Actually, I double clicked on it and it removed it. Let me do it again. I guess it removes whatever's going to be cut out. So pretty cool. Zoom it in. All right. I'm holding my mouse here to see what it would look like. All righty. Ready to try this. All right, so let's do a quick framing here. Let's see where everything is going to be placed. All right. Okay, we have enough real estate. Let's do this. So framing is completed. Let's see the processing. How long is this going to take? 7 minutes and 49 seconds. So you see everything is to the right. So the framing, the preview, and now the process. Let's see what we get. 7 minutes, 49 seconds. We click on start. Let's do this. Let's go. Right? Little shake. There you go. Didn't have to do much. It looks very good. The cut is very good too. Same with this guy. It's a good fit. Very nice. I could have gone a little bit further back here, I think. Again, to make that cable fit a little nicer when it goes through. But it's all right. And my logo and the QR code for your favorite website. Alrighty, I'm pretty satisfied. Let's go back indoors. Tell you what, I had to go back out. I totally forgot that the original design had the cutout there for the cable in that part of the base. This is my original design. It has the cutout. So I went back out and cut it again. You saw me that it wasn't very difficult to add. Just all we had to do was just add the circle at the bottom again and unite it with the rest of the design. So that was not bad at all. And it took about a minute to complete. So all things considered, I'm very happy with the way things turned out. This little guy goes right through it. For the next one, in the updated version, I'm going to make the cutout a little smaller on the bigger portion here so that you have a better fit. Right? And that's it. All right. So we're going to end things where we started them, in front of the computer. If you made it this far, you're already way ahead of most people still wrestling with the new studio. Yes, there's a learning curve, but most of the changes you've seen today are cosmetic, meant to clean things up, make the software faster, and connect with all the different Xtool machines under one roof. So don't let the new buttons or menus stop you. The only real trick is time and repetition. Everything else is just muscle memory waiting to come back. And don't forget my new tagline, right? You got this. If you ever get stuck or need help, I'm around. You can find me on Facebook at severnaliving.com as well, or drop your questions right here in the comments. I really want to hear from you. What do you think about this video? Would you try making the simple phone holder yourself? As always, this video is dedicated to my amazing Patreons. None of this would be possible without your support. You'll find the design file for this phone holder waiting for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can grab your own version for free over at severnaliving.com. I will leave the link down below. Studio's new, but it's not a roadblock. It's just a new path to the same creativity you've always had. So create more, stress less, enjoy the process, and don't forget, you got this. Thanks for watching, for learning, and for sticking with it. This is Severna Build. So long.